Hi guys, so just to touch base a little bit about some UGC that I've been doing, I just wanted to fill you in on these weeks that have passed. So there was really no reason to keep doing weekly updates as things were just kind of progressing as normal, but I wanted to touch base a little bit about Billo and if you have a problem with a client. So there was just a slight issue, nothing was terrible, but I do want to give those who may be dealing with this just some reassurance. So I worked with a client who said that they wanted you to go purchase the product in the store, and that made sense because that's basically what they wanted you to do, is film you buying the product, and it was part of the video. So that was fine, and it was a low priced item, so that's not what the point of this is. It's just the fact that they said they were going to reimburse you for the product. So it was confusing to me because in the video you actually are talking about reimbursing potential customers through your traditional apps like a Cash App or something like that. So they just told me after I submitted my video, or even before I submitted my video, just submit my receipt and that I'd be reimbursed. So I submitted that, never got reimbursed. I followed up with, hey, like, do you need my, information for those platforms to reimburse? And they said, oh, actually, our billing department said that that's not something that we're going to be able to do, that we're going to have to just figure out another way. So I was like, okay, no problem. So a couple weeks went by. Now after video revision, submitting a video, and that being finalized, that was all done, and I still never received payment. So now I followed up with you're supposed to chat in the Billo app. So I was only chatting in the Billo app, and I just said, hey, just following up to see when I'd be reimbursed, and I got ghosted. So that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, again, just because it's the principle of it, and that kind of made me feel nervous because this is my first time on this platform. I've been on it for months, but this is the first time I've ever had to purchase a product and be reimbursed. Normally, it just gets shipped to you, and then you keep it and it's done. Every once in a while, I've worked on other platforms where they will ship you the product, and then they request that you return it to them at their expense, and I've done that, and that's fine. But I've never had this scenario. So I reached out to Billo, of course, and I wanted to talk about this because if you're having trouble, this is kind of just to say, hey, listen, it all worked out, but here are the kinks that happened. So I reached out to Billo. You can choose to email them, or you can choose to chat within the app. I always like to be on the app because I feel like that's more of a concise area that I can keep checking. So I reached out. They kind of said, hey, listen, we'll look into this. And now 4 weeks go by. So I have chatted again with Billo. Sometimes Billo doesn't respond for a week, which that's a little frustrating, and I would like them to work on that because I feel like overall the app is really great. It helps connect creators to, brands and things like that. But the communication, especially when you're in a situation like this where you're getting essentially ghosted by the client and then also the platform, it's a little frustrating. If I had just been starting out and this happened, I think I would have got right off the app. I think this would have been red flags all over. But because I've been here for months and I've been established, it was more of just a kink in the road, and I wanted to make sure that all avenues were resolved, and they were. And there was just some misinformation though. There were a couple times where I heard from Billo and they said, oh, we reached out to the client, they said that they're going to reimburse you, can we have your information for that? And I said, yeah, even though I'd already given it to them once or twice, but that's okay. And then not being reimbursed. It was just kind of frustrating. And then having to follow up again, and then having to wait more weeks. And then I finally got a reply that said, hey, listen, if they don't reimburse you within 24 hours, we're going to charge their credit card on file. And so I was under the impression that was going to happen. Well, but it's 2 more weeks go by. And then we have to start from square one. And it's just it was really frustrating. Again, this was more so I wanted to take this time to make sure that everything was resolved, because in the event that this would ever happen again, it would be for a more expensive product. That would be detrimental. But everything worked out and I was reimbursed by the client. So I don't know. I feel like it was probably just, I don't know if it was a lot of miscommunication. I don't know what the true holdup was on that. But regardless, it all worked out. But the takeaway from this is that Billo has still been on my side. Billo has still reimbursed me. I've been paid out every time because of the way the platform's set up, so that's been great. So I would just say, if you're ever in a situation like this, make sure, this is another reason why it is so important to keep all communication on the app, because it can always be referenced. It's also important, you gotta stay on it. Had I not messaged every 3 days, every couple weeks, you know, I probably would have never been reimbursed. And again, it wasn't the monetary value, it was a really low amount, but I was using this as my test time to see like, hey, something really did go wrong. How is this going to be handled? How would this be handled in the future? So again, my takeaway is Billo's still a great app. The communication sometimes isn't that great, but the clients have all been great. I still got paid out. I still got reimbursed, but you just have to stay on it. So